Discover the sinister secrets of a cursed Vermeer masterpiece seized by the Nazis exposed at last. Clara's heart raced as she stood in the dusty attic of the old estate sale, her hand trembling at the edge of an exquisite painting. The framed canvas ignited a primal fear deep within her, its alluring colors drawing her in like a moth to a flame. It felt like a dark eye watching her, revealing whispers from another world, an echo of haunting pasts. She heard the stories of lost art from World War II, but nothing could prepare her for the unsettling chill creeping down her spine. The tag said Vermeer, and she could hardly breathe. She bought it on impulse, ignoring that tiny voice reminding her of stacked bills and demands for attention from her teenage daughter, Emma. Clara took the painting home, where it immediately reshaped the atmosphere of their small house. Shadows danced in corners, and she felt a suffocating weight as she hung it on the wall. The moment the frame clicked into place, the lights flickered. It was only a gust of wind, she told herself. But the cold shudder coursing through her friendless home whispered otherwise. That night, Clara tossed and turned in bed, trapped in dreams drenched in darkness. Whispers echoed in the depths of her mind, a constant reminder of another time, another life. The laughter of children and the clang of metal filled her ears, but they quickly morphed into desperate cries and screams. Startled awake, she noticed Emma in the hallway, her face pale, eyes wide. "Mom, I saw something in my dreams," Emma stammered, voice quaking, sending fresh ice through Clara's veins. The next morning, Clara clung to her coffee cup like a lifeline. Night terrors were nothing new in their lives, but this was different. Emma's eyes were haunted, holding a knowing terror that made Clara's heart race faster. The anxiety creeping into their lives soon escalated with frightening speed. Unexplainable noises hummed through the once peaceful house, scratches at the door, the creaking of the floorboards when no one was there. Nights became restless, drenched in fear. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With a growing urgency, Clara began to research the painting, uncovering heart-wrenching stories of those who once owned it. Tales of betrayal and demise, lives old and worn like the ancient canvas itself. Each piece of history pulled Clara deeper into a dark labyrinth, fueled by an insatiable drive to shield Emma. In desperate pursuit of answers, she sought the wisdom of Mr. Carter, her eccentric neighbor and renowned art collector. As she spoke, she felt the world narrow around them, his face twisting into a mask of concern. "This canvas, it carries dark burdens," he shuddered, revealing horror-laden folklore that made Clara's heart sputter. She felt eyes on them unseen, suffocating malevolence probing her very soul. Just as Clara began to digest the terrifying implications, Emma screamed from the other room, her voice a piercing siren in the thick, stale air. Clara's heart stopped. Something dark stirred, clawing at the edges of her sanity. She lunged toward her daughter, but a cold grip around her wrist yanked her back, forcing her to stare into the depths of the cursed painting. Time unraveled as she realized this was no ordinary artwork. As shadows loomed in corners and the air thickened, Clara stood frozen, suspended between dread and frantic urgency. What awaited her on the other side? Clara's breath quickened as she tore her gaze away from the painting's eerie depth. Emma's scream echoed in her ears, sinking into a primal instinct to protect her daughter. With an iron grip, she squeezed Emma's shoulder as she dashed toward the room, the icy clamminess of her own skin reminding her of how close she was to losing everything. "Emma!" Clara called, her voice a ragged whisper as she threw open the door, the hinges creaking ominously. The room felt strange, twisted by the painting's influence as if reality itself had begun to warp. Emma stood there, her back turned. Clara's heart pounded in her chest. She took careful steps closer, bracing for whatever nightmare awaited her in those few feet. Her daughter's slender frame trembled, as if she was fighting back tears or something far worse. "Mom." Emma's voice cracked. "It's here. I can feel it." "What do you mean? What is here?" Clara pressed, searching for comfort in her daughter's frightened demeanor, but finding none. Then, from the corner of the room, a flicker of blackness, shapeless and pulsing like a living shadow. Clara's throat tightened. Instinct screamed at her to run, but fear locked her in place. She reached for Emma, but too late. The shadows rushed forward, coiling like snakes around her daughter's feet before they dissipated into a dark vapor. Emma gasped. Her scream pierced the thick air, reverberating like a death knell that left Clara's heart in tatters. "Mom, it's watching us." Just then, icy fingers tightened around Clara's throat, dragging her back into the painting's cursed spell. She struggled, clawing at the air, her heart racing as she felt the walls of the room pulse and expand more sinister and alive than ever. The eyes within the painting shimmered, drawing her in deeper. In those depths, Clara glimpsed visions that flickered like broken film reels, children laughing in sunlit fields, the abominable clash of soldiers, frantic whispers of betrayal flying through the air. Every moment collided with horror, the unearthing of long-buried secrets. "Let me go!" she screamed, feeling the weight of the eyes pressing against her soul. But the grip only tightened. Emma's terrified breaths echoed louder, and Clara realized she could not simply free herself. In that desperate moment, she heard something, a low, guttural whisper weaving through the air. "Join us." Clara's muscles tightened. She fought that chilling invitation, clawing at the darkness and snaring her. "No. I want to let you in." But with every ounce of will she exerted, the shadows laughed, bitter, hungry. An unseen force yanked her closer, threatening to swallow her whole. And then, right before she slipped into the abyss, she heard her daughter calling for her, a drawing screech that nearly broke her. "Mom! I found something." Emma's voice echoed, breaking through the layers of fear and shadow. In an instant, the grip loosened. Clara burst back into her reality, gasping. Her heart thundered as she spun around, glancing at Emma, who was gripping a small, weathered book. The cover, worn and faded, bore a symbol she recognized, the same symbol lurking in the painting's corners. "Look!" Emma cried, her eyes wide with newfound clarity. There's a story, a way to stop it. Suddenly, the air shifted. The shadows no longer lingered. Silence descended, heavy and thick. "What does it say?" Clara asked urgently, her heart still racing, but before Emma could respond, a loud crash echoed from the living room, followed by muffled shadows, shifting shadows that didn't belong to Clara or Emma. Clara froze. "What is that?" The air was charged again with a sinister energy, a sense that the game was intensifying. They needed answers, and soon the timing was desperate. With quick breaths, they turned as one, anticipating what would happen next. But they knew something was breaking free. Something hungrier than ever. What secrets lay within the ancient pages? And would they be enough to combat the wrath that awaited them? The crash reverberated through the house, shaking Clara to her core. Her mind raced, instinct battling her desire for answers. She exchanged a glance with Emma, the weight of fear anchoring them both. "Stay close," Clara whispered, trying to sound braver than she felt. They stepped into the dimly lit hallway, each creak of the floorboards amplifying the tension hanging heavy in the air. As they approached the living room, Clara's heart thudded louder, the sound almost drowning out the low, guttural whispers curling through the shadows. It was an abomination that twisted and writhed like a creature tortured by its own existence. Horror gripped her as she caught glimpses of shapes darting in the corner of her vision. Nothing could have prepared her for the sight that awaited them. The living room was plunged into darkness, but the faint glow from the painting cast eerie shadows. In the center, the small coffee table lay in disarray, pieces of shattered decor scattered like forgotten remnants of a once happy home. Something was moving, undulating like dark smoke. Clara's voice trembled as she stepped forward, heart in her throat. "We need to see what's there." Emma gripped the book tighter, her knuckles white. What if it's dangerous? I know, Clara whispered. But they had to confront it, whatever it was threatening everything. As they inched closer, the shadows thickened, swirling above the broken pieces like a tempest. Clara's skin prickled as she felt the temperature drop. A faint outline emerged, a figure formed from the wisps of darkness, its features vague but hauntingly familiar. Clara's breath caught as recognition tinged her horror. No, it can't be. The figure twisted, revealing a visage she forgot she knew. A woman, trapped within time, her eyes glinting with longing and despair. Clara could almost hear her whisper a soft plea merging with the creaking silence. "Help me, Mom!" Emma exclaimed, her voice quaking. "What is happening?" The air thickened like molasses, and Clara could feel the shadows seeking, wanting to envelop them. "I think she's part of it. Whatever this thing is, it's using her to talk to us." The figure extended a hand, beckoning them closer. It was a deadly invitation cloaked in desperation, a tactic designed to lure them into its dark embrace. "Don't!" Clara shouted, pulling Emma back. "We can't trust her." But Emma, caught in the thrall of the moment, advanced regardless. "Mom, we have to understand what it wants." Clara grabbed Emma's arm with panic. "No. We need to find a way to stop it." The room surged with a cacophony of whispers, echoes of pain surging through the cracks in the walls. Time seemed to stretch as Clara searched her daughter's wild eyes. Could they afford to defy the shadows? Or would the truth bind them to a fate already sealed? Suddenly, the paintings on the walls shimmered, the figures grotesque and shifting, as if they were pleading for release from an unseen prison. Clara's breath hitched as the malevolent energy intensified, threatening to consume them both. "Mom, the book!" Emma yelled suddenly, her voice slicing through the madness. "It has to contain something. The secrets, maybe they can help us." Clara turned to Emma, heart racing. "But what if it's too late?" With trepidation, Emma opened the weathered pages of the book, frantically scanning the text. Clara felt the shadows closing in, pressing them into a corner. A dreadfully familiar sense of acceptance washed over her as she fought the rising tide of despair. "What does it say?" she urged, desperation creeping into her voice. Emma's gaze flickered across the page. "It talks about a ritual, a way to confront the darkness." Before she could finish, a surge of energy erupted from the shadows, overwhelming them. Clara felt her heartbeat in her ears, and the whispers crescendoed into a shriek. "Close your eyes," she shouted, but the void drowned out her command. The lights flickered, and darkness engulfed them. But in the chaos, Clara heard one distinct word piercing through the storm: freedom. The air crackled ominously, and Clara's world began to spiral into a void of fear and uncertainty. What was the key hidden in the shadows? Would the truth set them free or seal their darkest fate? They were in a race against time, searching for salvation in a world that wanted to consume them whole. Which truth would they uncover first? Theirs or the shadow's? The world blurred as Clara and Emma were swallowed by an impenetrable darkness. Clara's heart raced, pounding against her ribs like a desperate animal trying to escape a trap. The air stank of rot and something else: static, like the buzz of electricity before a storm, eerie and foreboding. "Emma!" she screamed, reaching blindly as the shadows coiled tighter around them, pressing against her skin like icy fingers. "Stay with me." But her voice felt foreign, muffled as if she were underwater. Suddenly, a violent thrum rippled through the void, making her stumble. The darkness seemed to pulse, and Clara gasped as the air shifted, loosening its grip for just a moment. In that fragile instant, she caught a glimpse of the painting, its edges sharp and bright against the dark backdrop. "Clara!" Emma's voice cut through the dismal silence, and Clara turned, her eyes frantically searching. But she saw only swirling obsidian. "We can't give in." "The book. Read it." Clara felt her stomach drop. But what if it's a trap? She could sense the malicious intent lurking behind the whispers encircling them, clawing to drown their sanity. "Mom, please." Emma's voice shook, a thread of panic tying them together. What if it has the answers? Before Clara could offer any more resistance, a crackling energy surged through her. The chaos melded into a singular image, a flicker of light illuminating the coffee table, and then the words poured from Emma's lips as if yanked by an invisible force, a chant echoing and spiraling into the darkness. "By the eternal names that bind the earth and sky, reveal thyself." Clara racked her mind, desperate to remember fragments of the rituals they had studied. "Emma, stop. You don't know what you're," but it was too late. The shadows surged forward, merging with energy summoned by Emma's incantation. They twisted, morphing into frenzied streamers of darkness, swirling violently like a hurricane. Fear prickled Clara's skin as the whispers transformed into anguished wails, an unearthly scream threatening to tear them apart. "Do you see her? Help me, the shadows cried, mimicking the mournful tone of the woman once trapped within them. "No. It's lying," Clara shouted, clenching her fists in sheer panic. "It's manipulating you." The manifestation of despair before them rippled and morphed, the woman's outline flickering like a dying flame. She reached out with claw-like fingers, a desperate plea springing forth again. "Help me find a glass-shattering sound echoed, cutting through the chaos." Clara's instincts kicked in. "Emma. The book. We need the book." With a frantic scramble, Emma clutched the tome, its pages vibrating. Clara could almost feel the shadows recoiling at the thought of exposure, the energy distorting, a frantic energy swinging like a pendulum between them and the unknown. "Read it. Now," Clara urged, forcing the words through her clenched teeth. Emma put her trembling finger on a passage, her voice cutting into the chaotic air. "It says the darkness feeds on truth, and to reclaim the light, we must confront those it has consumed." A throaty roar erupted from the shadows as Clara felt a surge of strength coursing through her. As the words flowed, they carved a path through the deafening storm. But shadows writhed, twisting into grotesque shapes, rallying against the encroaching light. "Help me!" the woman called once more, her wails mingling with the dark. Emma looked at her, terror etched in her wide eyes. "What if she is warning us? Or leading us to our doom?" Clara spat back, heart pounding against the prison of shadow surrounding them. They could either listen to the tortured cries or risk everything, confronting the darkness with the truth that could send it spiraling. The book rattled in Emma's hands, its power singing with each word uttered. The shadows recoiled and then surged forth, a tidal wave of despair crashing against the rising truth. As Clara braced for impact, one single thought echoed in her mind: what if the very essence of their being was bound to this shadow? The darkness writhed, revealing what lay beneath, a heart fed by secrets. Clara could feel the pulse of the shadows, their desire to consume, to conquer. "Emma!" she shouted as realization pierced through her. If the shadows held her past, could they also be their salvation? But what price would they need to pay for their freedom? As darkness clamped down again, tightening like a vice, Clara and Emma were thrust deeper into the void, caught between the truth and the terrifying unknown. The room spun with fragmented images. A flicker of a once happy life flashed before them, but was it too far gone, lost to the whispers? Clara's breath hitched, air thick with dread. Was freedom just another way to say they were losing everything? As the shadows reached for them again, the room shook violently. The question rang in the shifting darkness: could they face the horror of their own truths? Or would the shadows claim them once and for all? The shadows pulsed, heavy and suffocating. Clara struggled to breathe under the weight of their malevolence, her mind racing with erratic thoughts. Each heartbeat echoed louder than the last, a relentless reminder of their fragility in this abyss. "Clara!" Emma's voice trembled, a quiver of desperation cutting through the chaos. "We have to find the truth. It's our only chance." Echoes of laughter mingled with the wails, sinister and mocking. Clara could almost see the shadows bubbling like a dark cauldron, stirring memories she wished to forget. What truth? The truth we ran away from. She shot back, her voice barely a whisper, swallowed by the surrounding gloom. Just read. Emma shouted, her eyes wide with fear. She opened the book again, the pages shimmering with an otherworldly glow as if they knew their importance. There has to be something in here. Something we can use. Clara grabbed her daughter's arm, shaking her head vehemently. You don't understand what you're playing with. This darkness, it knows our pain. It feeds on it. As the shadows swirled angrily around them, Clara's thoughts drifted back to her past. Memories clawed at her resolve, moments she thought she had buried. Regrets flickered alive like dying embers. She couldn't let this darkness draw strength from her failures. She wouldn't let it. The mournful cries intensified, wrapping around Clara's heart like a vice. What do you want? She screamed into the churning void, her voice cracking under the pressure. The shadows paused, their swirling motion slowing as if they were considering her words. Help me, the woman's voice echoed, sounding almost human, yet twisted. You know the truth, no. Clara felt a rage rise within her. The echoes of her past taunted her, urging her to give in. You're just a trick, trying to pull us in. Why would we help you? Because you seek redemption. The shadows hissed, vibrating in a frenzied climate. You seek truth. A truth you hide even from yourself. Clara listened to it. Emma pleaded, her desperation palpable. What if it's right? What if we can rid ourselves of this? You've carried the weight for too long. A bold surge of pain streamed through Clara's veins. Anguish clawed at her throat. How could she confess the dark secrets that had haunted her? Secrets that she had shielded Emma from all their lives. But the room convulsed again, shadows multiplying like voracious beasts. Clara felt their chilling fingers pulling at her, waking the darkness inside her. What do you want me to say? She screamed. What could possibly satisfy this nightmare? The laughter returned, swirling like a storm. Face the truth. The painting, the darkness drew from your fears, Clara. Confront it, and you can free yourself. The painting, the one buried deep in her mind, the cursed masterpiece that had taken root in their lives. Could confronting it really sever their bond to this terror? Emma, I can't do this alone. We need to face what that painting represents. Clara gasped, her chest tightening. The memories flooded her of choices made in fear and darkness. Choices that led them here. Then let us face it together, Emma resolved, her voice steadying. We can reclaim what they took from us. Clara's breath shuddered, the words alighting hope and dread in equal measure. Are you ready for the truth, Emma? Because it might change everything. From the depths of despair, a flicker of determination ignited between them. Together, they had to confront the echoes of the past, the shadows whispering secrets that could either bind them or grant them freedom. But as they began to piece together the haunting memories swirling in the darkness, a deep rumble echoed the shadows, preparing for an assault, furious at their defiance. Hold on! Clara screamed as the ground beneath them trembled, ready to consume them whole. What awaited them on the other side of that truth? Would they break the cycle, or would the darkness obliterate their very souls in the process? As the shadows lunged forth, Clara's heart echoed a singular, frantic question: would uncovering the truth save them or doom them? Forever. The shadows surged forward, a torrent of cold darkness that threatened to swallow them whole. Clara gripped Emma's hand tightly, the warmth was a lifeline amidst the frigid despair. Stay with me. She gasped, feeling the ground shift beneath her feet. Together, they stumbled backward as the shadows writhed like serpents, eager to consume the light they clung to. Clara's heart raced, each thud reverberating in her chest as if it were protesting against the impending doom. We have to confront the painting, now. She yelled over the cacophony, urgency thrumming through her. Emma nodded, fear shining in her eyes. Where do we start? With a heavy breath, Clara closed her eyes, letting instinct guide her. Images flickered in her mind, the dimly lit attic where the cursed canvas was hidden, longing to reveal its haunting stories. The air thickened, scent saturated with loss and sorrow, memories her very soul rooted against. Upstairs. The attic. She shouted. Before they could run, the shadows tightened, claws of darkness grasping at their heels. Clara felt them tug and tear, howling hungry whispers that chilled her to the bone. "What are you?" she cried out, the desperation echoing her breaths. The laughter crescendoed, mocking and bitter. "Your past," it hissed in a million twisted voices. "Your secrets, your pain, no." Clara protested, rage kindling within her. "You don't own me. You're nothing but echoes of my fears." Bellowing winds surged as she turned, half dragging Emma with her toward the stairs. Each step was a battle, the shadows clawing at their ankles, pulling them back toward their chilling embrace. With a burst of adrenaline, they lunged forward, bursting through the attic door. The coolness hit them like a wave, pulling them into a murky haze filled with dust motes dancing in the pale light. Clara's gaze landed on the imposing painting that loomed against the far wall, draped in silk shadows as if to hide its shameful truths. "Stand back," Clara ordered, her voice trembling with determination. She approached the canvas, each footfall echoing in the hollow space. Her breath caught as she reached out, fingertips brushing against the cold, cracked surface. Memories surged like an unstoppable tide, the day it had come into their lives, the day everything changed. "What if we shouldn't?" Emma's whisper trembled, a sharp contrast to the steadfast resolve of her mother. "What if it's worse than we thought?" Clara turned around, desperation pooling in her chest. "We need to know." Clenching her fists, she felt the pull of the shadows still seeping through the cracks of the attic, demanding to be acknowledged. "We can't outrun this." As she pulled the cloth from the painting, the shadows reacted, swirling violently in the air and shrieking. The canvas revealed its ghastly depiction, a scene of torment etched in vivid color, a family caught in an eternal struggle, their faces twisted in anguish. Clara felt the weight of their sorrow, their pain leaping through to her as if feeding on her heart. Emma gasped, choking back a sob. "What happened to them?" "I don't know." Clara cried, her voice cracking as the realization washed over her. "But we have to see, we have to face this together." But the moment was shattered. The shadows lunged forward, growing more furious, shrieking as if enraged at their revelation. A fierce grip squeezed Clara's throat, cutting off her breath. "It knows we remember." She gasped, struggling to pull away, but darkness was relentless. It burst forth from the painting, tendrils sucking the air around them, plunging the space into an abyss of despair. In that crushing moment, Clara understood it wasn't just her secrets anymore. It was Emma's as well, woven tightly into this tapestry of pain and regret. Clara could feel the weight of their shared history pressing against her, threatening to consume them both. "Fight it. We can't let it win." Emma shouted, her eyes burning with defiance. Clara felt the surge of fear mixed with determination. "Together!" she yelled, though uncertainty gnawed at her. As they grasped hands once more, their fingers interlocking tightly, the final shadow lunged toward them with a piercing scream. Fear erupted in Clara, but she held on to the thread of hope as the world around them spun into chaos. What would they discover about the painting's horrific past? Would it bind them closer, or tear them apart forever? As they dove into the swirling maelstrom, Clara's chest tightened with the thought, could confronting the darkness not only save them but expose something far worse lurking in the depths? The darkness engulfed them, a cold embrace swirling around Clara and Emma as they were sucked into the chaotic storm. Reality twisted, blurred, fractured. Clara felt her body stretch as if pulled in every direction, the world shifting like images warped in a funhouse mirror. She could hear Emma's panicked breaths echoing beside her, their connection still solid against the onslaught. Suddenly, they were dropped into a void, a world suspended in time and space. Clara's heart pounded as she steadied herself against the overwhelming weight of despair pressing down. The air was thick, suffocating, drowning them in narratives they had hoped to bury. Shadows flickered like candle flames in the gloom. Familiar figures danced in the edges of her vision, their mouths opening and closing, but their voices were a dull roar, an indecipherable chorus of anguish. Clara? Emma's voice broke through, tinged with fear. Where are we? I don't know. Clara rasped, trying to catch her breath, the coldness of the air biting at her skin. We have to, but before she could finish, the shadows lunged, piercing the veil of silence with piercing, bitter laughter. Not so brave now, are we? A voice hissed, deep and mocking, echoing from the depths. The darkness pulsed, revealing images, memories. Distorted flashes of their past, moments intertwined with regret. Clara recoiled as scenes unfolded. The painting came alive with alarming clarity, a laughter-filled dinner, joyous but tainted, marred by secrets hidden behind closed doors. Cut to, the shadows closing in on the faces of a family, smiles fading into expressions of terror. Clara felt her heart drop, the emotions twisted her insides. Look, Clara. Emma pointed, her hand trembling. That's us. A familiar face emerged within the chaos, a younger Clara, vibrant and full of life, eyes sparkling with hope. Beside her, a figure with dark eyes and a tight-lipped smile, a man cloaked in shadows. Clara knew him as her father, a resolution crumbling as time layered over the joy, sinking deeper into despair. No, it can't be happening like this, Clara whispered, her voice trembling as the memories transformed. The room fell into a suffocating silence, then erupted as the images spiraled wildly. Weakness swept over her as the shadows pulled tighter. Your past will be your prison, the voice roared again, consuming the reality around them. You must face it, or be lost forever. Fight it. Emma yelled, adrenaline flaring in her chest. Clara felt the dread creeping in, threatening to drown her. Silently, she recalled all the moments shrouded in sorrow, an old woman's warning, the painting wrapped in cloth, each a step leading them here. How do we fight it? Clara shouted back, panic rising in her chest. The truth. Emma shouted, urgency blazing in her voice. We have to confront it. We need to know it all. With a surge of determination, Clara focused on the figure of her father, trapped in the shadows. She could see the pain in his eyes, a deep well of secrets waiting to be released. Could she extract the truth and shatter this darkness? Clara took a deep breath, steeling herself. Together. She yelled back, feeling Emma's grip tightening around her hand. The shadows echoed their unity, uncertainty becoming a shield against the creeping dread. The room around them shifted again, glowing with a sudden light as images collided, the grotesque painting in the center, pulsing with life. She stumbled toward it, adrenaline propelling her through the dark, but just as she reached the edge of the painting, a piercing scream cracked the air, reverberating through her bones. A figure emerged, more vivid than before, reaching for her with desperate, hollow eyes. Clara. Help me. You must remember. The voice was agonizingly familiar. It halted her breath. Who was it? What unbroken chains of past pain would she face next? What lurked behind those pleading eyes? Nausea twisted her stomach in knots as the eerie laughter wrapped around her again. Clara and Emma were falling, deeper into the abyss, the shadows closing in. Would confronting their own memories save them, or would it cost them everything? Clara's heart raced as she stared at the figure emerging from the shadows. The face twisted in agony was unmistakably her mother's. Help me. She pleaded, the words a whisper laced with desperation. Mom. Clara's voice wavered, shaking with an icy chill that gripped her soul. What happened to you? The shadows danced angrily around the edges, resonating with her mother's fear. You can't run from this. You need to confront them. The figure swayed, flickering like a dying flame before vanishing into the dark, leaving only echoes. What the hell was that? Emma's voice trembled, her grip tightening on Clara's hand. We can't stay here. It's like they want us to suffer. Clara felt it too, a cruel, collective intention in the darkness that wanted them lost and broken. But if I don't understand what happened, I can't. None of it makes sense. She had to know, had to break the cycle of pain that seemed to suffocate them. More images exploded into view, swirling like a tempest. The painting loomed larger now, its grotesque beauty an anchor to her family's past. Each brushstroke pulsed with life, yet its colors were tainted, shadows lurking just beneath the surface. She remembered the day her mother had hidden it, her frantic whispers warning Clara about its power. "Emma, we have to go back to the painting," Clara shouted, determination flooding her veins. "What? Are you insane?" Emma's fear was palpable, but the gravity of Clara's resolve rooted them both to the spot. Desperation flooded Clara's thoughts. The past couldn't be ignored, it was clawing its way desperately back into their lives. As they moved closer, the grotesque figures within the painting transformed. Faces she recognized twisted with anguish, a family torn apart by greed and betrayal. Clara's breath hitched in her throat as her mother's voice whispered once more, "Remember the truth, the danger, don't listen to her." A cloaked shadow hissed interjectively. "The truth will only bring more pain. You're better off forgetting." Clara cringed from the malevolence, but Emma's voice cut through, firm and unyielding. "We can't let them control us." She stepped forward, eyes ablaze, the whispers grew louder, colliding with the shadow's cackle. Clara felt herself teetering on the edge, her past clawing at her, wanting to pull her into the depths, where it could consume her whole. Emma pulled her back, fingers digging into her wrist. This isn't just about you. It's about us. Do you understand? We have to fight together." And there it was, an opening, an awareness that she had to face the specters of her past, not only for herself but for Emma too. Clara clenched her jaw, realizing that they were two souls facing a battleground of memories. "Then let us do this," Clara shouted, summoning her courage. "Let us find out what really happened and set them free." The shadows howled, the laugh echoing off the walls of the void as they responded to her defiance. Clara and Emma lunged toward the painting, resolve hardening their hearts. They would unveil the secrets buried beneath the layers of pain, no matter what it took, but as they reached for the center, the darkness pulsed violently, throwing them back. Clara felt a monumental force pressing against her, almost tangible, and she gasped as the room began to close in. "Foolish girls!" The voice snarled, escalating into a cacophony of screams. "You think you can escape the truth? It will consume you." Clara's mind raced. What truths waited hidden? What horrors would they unleash? But deep within her soul, the flicker of hope ignited stronger than the dread that surrounded them. The painting shimmered again in defiance as she steadied herself, sensations colliding in a whirlwind. "Hold on!" Emma shouted, a fierce light in her eyes. "Together!" Yet, the shadows deepened, a dark sea of torment waiting. What would they unleash if they kept going? Clara gritted her teeth, determination surging through her body. "This time, we will face it. We won't be lost." As they reached out once more, the laughter transformed into a wail that echoed through the nothingness. Their hands were inches away, but what twisted horrors lay in wait beyond the veil? Would the truth shatter them, or would it bind their lives forever? The moment their trembling fingers brushed against the painting's surface, a shockwave surged through the air. The shadows twisted and churned violently around them, screaming in fury. Clara felt something cold and clammy grip her wrist, yanking her back with a force that felt alive. "Emma!" Clara's voice rose, panicked as she was pulled further into the abyss. The walls of the room warped, bending and stretching, and in an instant, they were enveloped in darkness. Clara's vision blurred as fragments of memories erupted around her like shattered glass. They were inside the painting now, trapped within its canvas, and the grotesque figures morphed into animated apparitions. Clara gasped as faces she recognized twisted in a silent scream, not just her mother's but her father, her brother, two hauntingly familiar yet distorted beyond recognition. The air thickened as their cries reached a deafening crescendo. "You shouldn't have come here, Clara." Emma's voice cracked, pulling Clara's attention as she fought against the pull of despair. "We need to stick together. Don't let them separate us. Clara nodded, the familiar warmth of her friend's presence grounding her amidst the chaos. But then, the shadows morphed, leaking cruelty. A figure veiled in liquid black emerged, stretching taller, angrier, its mismatched hands clawing at the air. Did you think you could break the chains? It hissed, its voice a twist of silk and knives, slicing through Clara's courage. This truth you will regret seeking it. Suddenly, Clara understood. This shadowy entity wasn't just a guardian, it was a reflection of their own fears. The weight of their family's secrets coiling around them like a snake tightening its grip. The truth was here, lurking like a beast waiting to be unleashed. With a primal scream, Clara thrust her palm against the painting again, willing for the memories tied up in the chaos to surface and wrap around her. A spiral of colors exploded before her. She saw flashes of forgotten room, an old trunk, her mother's terrified face, then a flicker of a distinct word, betrayal. What do you see? Emma shouted, fear flashing in her eyes, but Clara couldn't turn away. It's about the paintings. Mom, she hid something here, Clara stuttered, pushing deeper into the wave of memories, trying to decode the echoing fears. We have to remember, Emma. Focus. The figures around them writhed, a cacophony of the past versus the present. The shadows screamed louder, drowning under their own weight, revealing moments of joy crushed by the greed that stained their family's history. Give in. Forget. The shadows wailed, their dissonant voices screeching through the air. No. Clara shouted back, defiance burning in her veins. We won't let you control us anymore. Emma latched onto Clara's arm, lighting a spark of resistance in the darkness. Together, they pushed against the tumultuous waves of trapped anger, tears, and despair. The more they fought, the more the shadows receded, unveiling a shimmering thread of light that beckoned them forward, but as they stepped through the threshold created by their renewed determination, the ground beneath them trembled. The darkness didn't yield easily, it gushed back, a foaming tide threatening to devour them whole. We need to find the truth. Clara shouted, clenching her teeth against the growing terror threatening to drown them. Then let us do it. Emma yelled back, her spirit unwavering, but just as hope surged, Clara stumbled, the shadow reaching for Emma's throat. It was a moment of horrifying clarity, they were not just fighting for knowledge but for their very survival. The price of truth was spiraling out of control, drawing them into the very heart of darkness. As they clung to each other, Clara's breath came out in ragged gasps. We can't go down alone. Keep fighting. But then, in a whisper that chilled her blood, the shadows enveloped her. This is only the beginning, Clara. What more lay in the depths? What truths would they unearth that could tear apart their very souls? As the void began to consume them again, Clara felt herself gasping, what must we face to survive? The air shimmered with impending danger as Clara and Emma plunged deeper into the shadows. Clara's heart raced with fear, but a flicker of determination ignited within her. We can't let the darkness win. She shouted, tightening her grip on Emma's hand. Together, they stood at the heart of the storm, shadows swirling dangerously close while wails and anguished cries echoed in their ears. The figures from the canvas hovered around them, suspended in agony, each face reflecting their pain. Please, help us. A voice pleaded, agony etched into its features. Don't give in. Clara shouted, her pulse echoing against the oppressive atmosphere. She felt the pull of desperation but knew that revealing the truth was the only way to regain control. We need to confront this. Face what? Emma cried, her eyes wide with realization. The pain? Our history? Or the darkness itself? The shadows coiled, sensing their wavering resolve. Face the truth, they hissed in unison. Or be consumed. The chilling whisper filled the air, practically suffocating them as the shadows lunged with fury. Together. Clara screamed again, her voice piercing through the chaos. We can't let it divide us. Suddenly, the shadows faltered, recoiling as a bright light erupted from within Clara, the manifestation of her tenacity and hope igniting against the encroaching dark. "You'll never break us!" she howled defiantly, feeling Emma's grounding presence beside her. As if summoned by their determination, the memories twisted around them like tormented ribbons unfurling. Voices flooded her mind as scenes from their past played out like a haunting reel, moments of laughter drowned in sorrow, secrets hidden away like dust under carpet. "Clara!" Emma's voice shook, piercing through the memories that threatened to drown them in pain. "We have to remember why we're here." Clara nodded, her heart pounding, racing against the storm. "For our freedom," she whispered, as clarity washed over her. They needed to confront the roots of their suffering, the loss, the betrayal, the hidden lives stained by darkness. "This is your legacy," the shadows taunted, intertwining with the echoes of their family history, swirling around them like a tempest. "You are bound to us, Clara. You cannot escape. No more." She screamed. "I will not let you dictate my life." With a fierce cry, she ripped through the memories, pushing against the weight of despair. The light within her flared brilliantly, illuminating the shadows that clawed at their heels. With each ounce of strength, she reached back into her past, searching for the one truth that could set them free. The betrayal, it's tied to the painting. She shouted, locking eyes with Emma. "Everything revolves around it. If we can unravel its secrets, we can end this." As if responding to their revelation, the shadows shrieked and writhed, distorting. The glaring light flickered, and Clara felt the power surge through her. The truth can be painful, but it's necessary. Emma reflected her bravery, her eyes firm. "Let us reveal it." Together, they surged forward, breaking the barrier between light and dark, racing toward the painting that loomed ominously ahead. Clara reached out, her fingers brushing the cold canvas once more, unleashing a torrent of memories, unveiling the layers of anguish trapped within the artwork. A flood of emotions exploded, crashing over her like an ocean wave. The agony, the love, the regret, all spilled forth in a way that felt almost alive. The figures within the painting twisted, morphing into a tableau of despair. Clara's mother appeared, her face shredded with grief. "You can't escape the truth." "Yes. But I can confront it," Clara shouted, determination filling her core. "We want to uncover what you've hidden for so long. Face the truth and understand," the shadows shrieked, their form writhing in anger, "or be devoured by it." But Clara pressed on. "You are not my master. I will break these chains." With that, the light exploded around them, pushing back against the shadows. The painting shimmered, and the cries doubled each moment, pulling Clara back again. She felt them fighting to escape the pressure mounting. "You'll regret this," they wailed, and as their essence began to fade, Clara's heart surged. "Let go. We're ready." Clara screamed, and with one last push, she and Emma dove into the vivid world of the painting. The shadows collapsed around them, exposing a brilliant light that enveloped them in a warm embrace, shadows dissipating like smoke under the sunlight. Time unwound within the canvas, revealing the full tapestry of their family's history, a legacy interwoven with their hurt and love, a connection they could reclaim. The last echoes of despair faded, leaving behind a serene calm. Clara and Emma emerged, gasping for breath, the weight of the darkness lifting off their shoulders. They stood in their living room, the painting now a soft memory rather than a haunting presence. Peace surged through Clara as she turned to Emma, tears of relief filling her eyes. "We did it. We faced it together." Emma smiled through her tears, wrapping her arms around her mother. "And we're free. Our past is ours to reshape now." Clara felt joy warm her heart, mingled with the bittersweet remnants of what they had endured. Together, they were stronger. Together, they could embrace a new beginning unmarred by the shadows that once loomed large. The painting that had once trapped them was now a reminder, a testament to their bravery. They had confronted the darkness and emerged not just alive, but victorious. As they stood together, the sunlight poured into the room, illuminating every corner, reminding them that hope always found a way through the cracks. With the turbulent storm behind them, Clara knew that now was their time to heal, to grow, and to forge a new legacy filled with light, and so, they walked out into the sun, laughter ringing in the air, ready to embrace the future, grateful for the truth that had finally set them free. Now that you've seen the thrilling conclusion of Clara and Emma's journey, don't let the excitement stop here. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories we have in store for you. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep the adventure alive. We can't do it without your support. Flood the comments section below with your reactions and theories about the ending. What do you think will happen next? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.